this evening. Lifeless body of a missing construction worker was found at a koker on the east coast of Demerara. Minister of Education, schools will close in the first week of July and resume in September. Boat captain's lifeless body found in ship fuel tank. In the region, US-bound migrant caravan leaves southern Mexico, and internationally, Bangladesh shipping depot fire brought under control after 3 days. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's newscast begins with a significant breakthrough in the missing persons case. The body of a construction worker suspected to be the victim of a traffic accident was discovered at a koker on the east coast of Demerara. Esther Sobers has more details.
Police have found the body of 50-year-old Rehana Williams, a construction worker of Enmore, East Coast, Demerara, who disappeared more than 2 weeks ago after he was hit down at Enmore, East Coast, Demerara during the wee hours of Monday, May 23rd. Williams' decomposed body was discovered in a koker at College in East Coast, Demerara around 1 p.m. today. William was struck down by a motor car PAB 2552 along the Enmore Public Road. The driver of the vehicle that was involved in the accident reportedly picked up the injured man and promised to take him to the hospital, but Williams was not been heard or seen since. The missing man's sister, Sylvia Williams, related that in the wee hours of May 23rd, she received information that her brother was involved in an accident. He was hit by a car as he disembarked from a taxi. Persons at the scene told her that a car that struck her brother down picked him up to take him to the hospital. The woman noted that upon checking for her brother at the Georgetown Public Hospital, he was not there. The family made checks at all private hospitals, but they still could not locate him. A report was made and the police said they were investigating the matter. Today, police, acting on information received, went to the location in College and East Coast, Demerara and discovered a body that they believe to be Williams. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The Transport and Harbour Department wishes to reassure residents of Supernam and those using the Supernam-Perica route that the MV Sabanto will continue to conduct as many round trips as possible to facilitate travel and avoid any congestion at either port. The MV Sabanto is the lone vessel servicing the route daily, as the MV Kanawam is off the Transport and Harbour schedule for 5 weeks for rehabilitation. The Transport and Harbour Department has its usual schedule: first departure from Supernam to Perica at 5 a.m. and a final scheduled daily departure time from Perica to Supernam at approximately 7 to 7:30 p.m. However, the vessel operates daily on a touch-and-go basis depending on the traffic and tide. In the last several days, the vessel has made more than its usual number of trips to accommodate persons and vehicles needing to cross with dry goods, produce, or materials. Timing has also varied except for the 5 a.m. schedule. The MV Sabanto has worked beyond its usual daily operating schedule twice in the past few days. It departed Perica at 9 p.m. on another occasion after midnight to ensure persons and businesses were not greatly affected by the modified operations. The increased round trips aim to alleviate any traffic congestion at the Perica or Supernam stellings. The Transport and Harbour Department again thanks members of the public for their patience and again appeal for continued understanding of the situation. The lifeless body of a boat captain was discovered in a ship fuel tank on the Essequibo coast. Esther Sobers has more details.
Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a 28-year-old boat captain, say John Hopkinson of East Pataro Road, Bartica, whose lifeless body was discovered in a fuel tank in a ship at the Sherland Fuel Depot Adventure Essequibo Coast on June 6, 2022. Reports say that Hopkinson and two other sailors left Bartica in a 75-foot metal boat powered by 360 HP engine around midnight on June 5th, headed to Adventure Essequibo Coast to collect fuel for their employer. The men arrived at Adventure at around 5:30 a.m. and claimed that they both went into the boat's cabin to rest since they had to wait for the boat to be loaded, leaving Hopkinson on the boat's deck. The men related to detectives that about 8 a.m. they awoke and noticed that Hopkinson was not around, and they checked around the boat when one of them discovered that the body of the motionless Hopkinson in a fuel tank on the ship. The police were alerted and subsequently pulled the body of Hopkinson out of the tank. The body was escorted to Saudi Public Hospital, where an official pronouncement of death was given by a doctor. The man's body is presently at the hospital mortuary awaiting a postmortem examination. Sir John Hopkinson was hired as a boat skipper by a businessman from undernaming Essequibo Coast and Eccles, East Bank, Demerara, who manages Sheridan Fuel Depot. Investigations into his death are ongoing. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Stick around after the break. 4 persons arrested in connection with the deadly stabbing of Carol Davison and Minister of Education. Schools will close in the first week of July and resume in September.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality, men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands, and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
They say that when it hits you. A feeling so strong that it's impossible not to give in to a juicy piece of KFC. To feel elevated by the aroma and to free fall into its exciting flavor. Some call it love, attraction, desire. We call it KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Welcome back. 4 suspects are in custody as the Ghana police force investigates the circumstances surrounding the death of a female security guard at East La Penitence spotting area, as the source explains.
As police in Regional Division 4A continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding the stabbing death of 21-year-old Carol Davison, a security guard of East La Penitence squatting area, on Monday, June 6, 4 suspects are in custody. 3 females aged 20, 28, and 29 years old, and a 28-year-old male, all of Northeast La Penitence squatting area. Today, Headline News visited the home of Davison and spoke to her grieving mother, Chanel Bledman.
Your daughter at Funny Bridge breathing. I said, what? And I started my work home. I live on Northeast squat right now. Right? So around, same time the rainy fall, so around through the water. By the time I go now, you understand? Here my daughter gone in the hospital. When I call a taxi, I say, "Ma, call a taxi quick for me." You understand? Run go there, I ain't got no taxi by the bridge, I walk straight out by the outpost. I take a taxi. The taxi driver takes $7 from me, right? I said, no problem, I have the money. You understand? Then when I go to the hospital, I go to the outpost now. I said, man, I just get an incident that my daughter get choked. I just pray to God for everything right with her. You understand? When the police show me on the phone now, the daughter said, yes, you're there, sir. Right? I said, okay, the police turned and tell me, relax. I said, it's a corporal, right? A woman, a corporal. Relax. I said, so I relax myself now. When I relax myself now, the police on turn and tell me relax again. She gonna take me into the room. In the outlet now, we're going now for see. We doctor. You understand? They turn me in the room. What they go now? You understand? The nurse turned and said me, man, your daughter? I said, yes, it's my daughter, biggest daughter. How much I got? I said, I got 8. This is one of the bunch. I start to cry, right? Same time, I see my daughter's foot like that, like this, and she had this up. Alright, she got on a short pants, and she top. She barely skin and she nothing. And I said, that. No, first thing I said, nurse, why my daughter too tight together, tight with the white gauze? Right? They said, mommy, I want to tell you anything. I said, please, just tell me. Just tell me. I just want to hear one thing. Just tell me.
According to investigations, Davidson was drinking in a yard near the Breakdown Secondary School bridge with a group of companions. The assailant broke into the yard and assaulted the woman with several pieces of wood. During the altercation, the suspect gave the 21-year-old woman multiple lashes all over her body. Davidson attempted to flee for her safety around a house in the yard, but the 3 ladies and 1 male pursued her. She was subsequently stabbed by one of the suspects. The driver who took Davidson to the hospital spoke of her last words whilst she was alive.
When I turned her over, I saw some blood here. So I raised up her dress and they see big hole here, so she get this stab.
Did she die on her way or die?
She died on the way to the hospital. When we reached the 5th Street Alberton, this was she died in the car. Yeah.
Was she speaking at the time?
Yeah, she was speaking. All she was talking about was her kids being taken care of. I said, man, you don't worry, your kids, they're going to be well taken care of. The most important thing I want, you breathe till we reach the hospital. She said, I can't make it. God, they touch me, the way she tell me. I said, mean the touch? She said, yes, they touch me, they bought me real deep. And when we jump over North Road, Church Street, going in past 6th Street Alberton, approaching 5th Street, is where she gives her last breath.
Davidson's body was taken to the Memorial Garden mortuary awaiting a post-mortem examination. The 4 suspects, who were all apprehended by police, are presently in custody at the East La Penitence Police Station, assisting with investigations. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The Ministry of Education has announced that schools will be closed in the first week of July and reopened in September as per normal. Following a consensus among teachers, the majority were not in favor since they were engaged in classroom activities during the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister of Education Priya Manik-Chan noted that the ministry has explored the possibility of extending the current school year to recover the learning loss incurred by the pandemic.
We believe that it would be best to, at this point, have everyone close for the July-August holidays as usual. Return to school in September refreshed. Teachers feel particularly tired because while it is true that we were home, they were still working. And so they feel like they need the break.
While some teachers see the need to keep schools reopened to address the learning loss, the ministry respects the wishes of those teachers who were not in favor. The minister indicated that some teachers had expressed their willingness to work with students during the holiday seasons, especially those preparing for major examinations.
We will do it in an organized way that we are going to announce shortly, is publish on the Learning Channel and through our new radio station, EduU. We're going to publish, like I said, in an organized way, courses of study in different areas so that if parents want their children to get reinforcement, or what we call in Guyana lessons, for free, they can tune into the channel at different points.
The reinforcement will be available for nursery, primary, and secondary students with mechanisms in place to monitor progress. Don't go away after the break. Bangladesh shipping depot fire brought under control after 3 days. And China COVID-19 rules add pressure to students taking exams.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Several thousand migrants have set out from southern Mexico in a caravan bound for the United States, which is hoping to address regional migration during talks at the Summit of the Americas this week in Los Angeles. Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapallo reports.
Thousands of migrants set out from the city of Tapachula in the early hours of Monday. Many are mothers with young children who, despite the heavy rain, push to keep pace with the rest of the crowd. There's numerous nationalities among them, but the vast majority are from Venezuela. All want to reach the United States.
I left my country in search of a better future. With God's help, if He permits, I will reach the U.S. border and find new opportunities and help my family.
It's already been a long and difficult journey for most. And many are now finding that Mexico has its own challenges. For this elderly woman, the inclement weather is too much. Fortunately, paramedics are close by. Her daughter says they're desperate for the nightmare to be over.
We're hoping they'll give us U.S. visa. There are many of us migrants here. We need help, just like this woman. There are many people here, children and disabled people who get tired. Many people died in the jungle on our way here. Pregnant women, children. There are children who fainted just behind us.
It's the largest migrant caravan to set out from southern Mexico this year. But for a group this size to stay together, frequent rests are needed, especially for families traveling with young children.
After several hours of walking, the group has taken a break from the punishing heat of southern Mexico. They're tired. You can see the exhaustion on many of their faces. But just about everyone we've spoken to says they're also committed to continuing their journey to the U.S. southern border.
With more rain forecast, the decision has been made for the group to stay put. They'll rest for now, but the plan is to take to the road again after midnight and make it as far as they can before the heat sets in once again. Manuel Rapallo, Al Jazeera, Chiapas, Mexico.
Internationally, investigators in Bangladesh are still searching for the cause of a massive fire at a shipping depot. At least 41 people were killed. Al Jazeera's Tanvir Chowdhury reports.
People here are still in shock. The explosion that shook the entire neighborhood around the depot. Muhammad Ridwan is just one of the people who were badly injured.
We were observing the fire near the depot gate, and then in a blink of an eye, there was a major explosion. Then suddenly flaming metal debris hit me on my head as I was running to seek shelter in a shop.
Authorities are still searching for the cause of the fire.
What we have initially learned from the explosion is that this happened due to a leak of hydrogen peroxide, and it is what likely created the spark.
Charities are helping victims and their families.
We've provided ambulance services to those who were injured or died from the fire incident, and alongside that we're also providing emergency medicine, food and clothes to those who are affected.
Although firefighters managed to bring the deadly blaze under control, the containers are still smoldering. Clearance and salvage operation is still going on. You can see the level of devastation. I can smell fume. There's chemicals on the ground. Journalists were only given few minutes to check out the premises, and then we were told to leave this area because there is clearly more danger around. Victims' families crowd the corridors of the hospital.
My nephew is a truck driver who came to drop goods at the container depot that night, but he never got the chance to unload the goods and instead got severely injured due to the explosion.
The owners of the container depot said they will help the victims.
Our main goal is to help those who are injured and help the families of the dead on an urgent basis. And the company will help the victims' families for the rest of their lives and even bear the children's education expense.
Many of the containers contain internationally recognized clothes brands. And while safety standards have improved in factories in recent years, experts say more needs to be done across the entire supply chain. Tanvi Chaudhary, Al Jazeera, Sitakundo, Bangladesh.
And finally, nearly 12 million students across China are sitting their university exams. The highly competitive tests are believed to be decisive in determining future success. But the government's zero-tolerance COVID-19 restrictions are causing additional stress to already under-pressure students. Al Jazeera's Katrina Yu reports.
These teenagers are about to take exams which many believe will make or break their future. China's university entrance assessments, called the Gaokao, are among the toughest in the world. Almost 12 million students are sitting them this year, and the pandemic has created some of the most stressful conditions in the exam's history. Temperatures are checked upon entry. Those with fevers are immediately isolated. But there are other challenges. 18-year-old Xie Lizong has been studying at home for 13 hours a day. Coronavirus restrictions in Beijing forced all classes online, adding to the pressure, says her mother.
Physically going to school is very important for meeting peers, teachers, and relieving stress. But since April, there's been an outbreak in Beijing, and she's been unable to go to school again, this time for the critical period leading up to the Gaokao.
The exam results are considered crucial for a good career, and competition in China's job market has intensified in recent years. The unemployment rate for university graduates has soared since the beginning of the pandemic.
Among some employers, they see that, they will look at your Gaokao score, they'll look at the university that you went to, and that's how they'll filter when they get lots and lots of applicants. So I think definitely among more traditional employers like the government or like state-owned enterprises, it is a really huge factor in whether or not you're even going to get an interview for a job. So it does matter, and it is hugely important.
Critics of the exam say wealth gaps unfairly advantage those living in bigger cities. Others say they give those in poorer areas an equal opportunity to improve their prospects.
These national exams are taking place from Tuesday until Friday, and they're so important that authorities have blocked off all of the roads surrounding schools and testing venues to ensure that students aren't disturbed by noisy traffic.
But not all eligible students are sitting the Gaokao this week. In Shanghai, they've been postponed to next month. The financial center is exiting a brutal 2-month virus lockdown. Students there endured food shortages and constant virus testing, in addition to isolation. Wang Zheng's relieved the same measures weren't imposed in Beijing.
The children of my generation only have one child. We are an ordinary family. If our daughter fails these exams, how can we help her find a good job? Her future would be very hard.
Xie Lizong's exam results will be out in a few weeks. Meanwhile, she's planning to celebrate their completion with her favorite food. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
That is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.